It's been a lovely day. You've had a great time with family and friends, laughing, drinking too much, and just making yourself look like a right moron. Pretty typical, but now it's the end of the day. The sun's run away behind the other side of the planet, only to rise again in the morning. Probably. It's dark outside, and because you're human, and not some weird creature who enjoys the darkness, God forbid, you make the very human choice to crawl into bed and close your eyes, because now is sleepy time. The best time. The time where you don't have to think or anything. You just get to be there without thinking of you being there. You don't have to be aware of you being there because your brain is just aware of it being there. But you go somewhere else, floating to the back of your mind possibly, but it doesn't matter to you. You just like the temporary off switch it gives you. It's really quite nice to just be off for a little while. Being human is exhausting. No one else understands how draining it is, having to look at things and think of things all the time. So annoying. But sleep? Sleep is great. It takes everything bad about being awake and alive and just makes it good. No thinking, no nothing, just being there, totally unaware. Unaware yet still alive in a sort of way. It does really depend on what definition you take though, sadly. If you take the definition of alive that you are living and not dead, then sure, definitely, you're very much alive, heart pumping happily over and over again throughout the night, roughly about 21,600 times for you healthy ones out there, probably a little bit more for those of you who like sitting at your computer all day stuffing your fat face with horrifically made food and enough smoke to power a steam engine. Definitely not me. But that's the average person. So, yeah, as long as those 21,000 thumps go off during your unconscious, blissful hours, then you're very much alive. Definitely alive. Super alive. And you are putting a lot of confidence in your heart that it doesn't just take a day off or get bored. Your heart should really get a raise now that I think about it. But what about that other definition of alive? The one that says that you need to be alert and active, animated. Well, your brain might be, but you, as the person lying there doing nothing but sleeping and essentially just being as useful as a sack of potatoes in the corner, not moving other than from when you get one itchy bollock in the middle of the night, you're not animated, or alert, or active. So, are you not alive? Not in the sense of being moving, no, you aren't alive. You're dead. Bit of a strange thing to think about, that every time you go to sleep, you're technically dead. Sort of. Well, let's run through a few ideas, just to make sure you're really dead. When you're sleeping, most normal people dream. They get sent into a lovely mystical world of wonder and pain. So much pain in the back of their minds. They aren't really aware that they're in a dream. You just kind of accept your reality for what it is and go on with it. A duck might appear right in front of you and start chasing you or chatting to you. I can imagine it would go something like this. Yo, wagwan. Hi there, duck. You good, G? Pretty alright, thanks. Yourself? Peng, G. Peng? What does peng mean? Is that duck language? That sound proper good, isn't it? You tripping or something? I don't think so. I was just looking for the bakery. Are you mad? Cut you up, mans. Jesus, duck. I just want to know where the bakery is. They sell shoes there, right? Now man's lost it. You're a funny fat. Only baker I know is a Benz for a No, duck. I don't want drugs. Are you on drugs? I'm blazed, G. In here. Okay, I think that's enough duck talk. But the point is, you aren't really aware of the absurdity. You're just there, in the hallucinations of your brain, not aware of anything that's going on around in your actual reality. Not the weird brain you reality. Like, I could go and poke you, steal all of your things, and as long as you're properly asleep, you would still just lie there, not giving a shit. You're completely unaware, just like you'll be when you're dead. Who's to tell you what death is like anyways? For all we know, death could just be an endless cycle of dreams over and over again that you're trapped in. And as dreams is a weird reality time where you don't really have the capacity to stop and go, hey, that's a little bit odd. That baby really shouldn't be splattered all over that wall. Wait, where's its head? As everything's just made in a random set of twists and turns in front of your own eyes. I mean, mind's eye, while you're experiencing it at the exact same time. This could be what death is, just another dream within the reality of the dream you know right now, ending. Like going to sleep puts you in a dream. Maybe death is just you going to sleep again, but going into another dream, to repeat the same crazy cycle over and over. Now, that's a little bit of a brain-breaking idea. Before I get even more sidetracked, let's think of the other characteristics of death that you have while sleeping. We've already covered the going to sleep and being unaware part, so what about the hallucination part of dying? Obviously, or hopefully, you won't really have any personal experience or idea of what I mean right now, but when someone's close to death, their brain kind of gives up and starts hallucinating a lot, making loads of things that aren't really there. This can be for your own comfort, like seeing an ice cream man in front of you while you're lying on your deathbed to bring you those last few minutes of bliss, thinking about the cool, soft honeycomb ice cream touching your lips and how sweet it tastes, salty and just pure euphoria. Or it can be something utterly horrific, like a monster that chews on your toes when you sleep. I have personal experience with that one, sadly, but all this is essentially just your brain losing most of its function. Every normal function to keep your normal vision and senses working, shutting down. So you experience some lovely stuff that isn't actually there. But correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that just what dreaming is? You're literally experiencing a whole other reality of things that aren't there for a whole 8 hours. For me, it's 3, while you're lying there enjoying sleep. So surely sleeping is a little bit like dying. So with dying, you're lying there, not moving and unaware to anything, having hallucinations, and with sleeping it's exactly the same. Just only your heart is beating slightly faster than when you're dead. Yeah, fam, but what about blood and... Oh, you're still here, Duck? Yeah, fam, you've been tripping balls this whole time. Oh no, I'm okay, Duck. Just answering a question someone asked me. You sure, blood? Yeah, I'm sure, sort of. I've not killed myself, at least. Just to have a sp and chill, man. Life will be waves. Okay, Duck. Maybe later, but what did you say about blood before? I asked you if you're sure, blood. No, not that. The part before that. Oh, that blood and that stops going round your head. Need that to in it. That's a really good point, actually, Duck. I'm surprised you actually had a decent idea. Watch what you say, fam. I'll it up if you're not careful. Okay, Duck. I'm just gonna walk away now. I'll see you later. Surprisingly, that duck makes a good point. When you die, there's literally no oxygen getting to your brain anymore. No resources going to the rest of your body to keep it operational. Well, sort of. It is true that most of your cells need oxygen to survive and continue on, but it isn't like they need it all the time. It only needs a little bit of oxygen every now and then, every cell needing it every few minutes, otherwise it dies. But your brain is a really weird organ when it comes to oxygen. When it's fully functional and churning away, figuring out what porn you're going to wank to tonight, it's an oxygen muncher. Takes loads of the stuff, but it can last around 900 seconds without it, surprisingly. Obviously, it gives you severe brain damage, but it can still last. So, when you die, that's roughly how long your brain will continue doing brain things for, keeping you hallucinating in a dreamlike state. Wait, in a dream? But that's what you do when you're sleeping. You dream when you're asleep and experience weird movies and pictures related to what went on that day. A lot of the things don't make any sense, like that duck, which is literally what hallucinations are. Things that aren't really there but seem like they are. And that's what you experience while you're sleeping. Your heart slows down slightly while your brain probably has less oxygen than it usually has. Pretty much like when you're dying. But the only thing resetting that timer of 900 seconds from reaching zero is a heartbeat every so often. You're basically balancing on a tightrope, slowly edging closer to death but being brought back by a simple heartbeat. You're sitting on the edge of death while you're sleeping. Your body is just brilliantly programmed to keep you teetering on that edge rather than falling completely off it. With sleeping, you're hallucinating because your brain isn't getting enough oxygen and being kept in a dreamlike state, lying there completely unresponsive and unaware of what's going on around you. And when you're dying, you're lying there in a dreamlike state as your brain doesn't have enough oxygen while you're hallucinating and completely unresponsive and unaware of what's happening around you. I think I've said enough. Dying is basically sleeping, and sleeping is just dying but a more controlled version of it. Enjoy the thought that you're being kept on the edge of death by a small part of your brain you're putting too much trust in tonight as you drift off to sleep. Sweet dreams. Enjoy dying.